I'm John Anderson. Meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a Legend of Iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of carnivore pure beef protein isolates. Beef builds muscle, and carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein.
Look at I love the fact that in my screen you can see the house. In all three of your screens, you block everything. Oh, you guys are monsters. I'm excited about this. It's nice that I get to talk to three guys that have battled, been successful, and continue to do it. Not just a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
That to me is I was just watching that whole Tom Brady thing. It's not that you can be great for a day, but can you be great for a lifetime or for longer than others? And that's
I think all four of us are pretty much doing that. So
isn't that the truth? I mean, we're talking we literally, in terms of staying relative, I mean, you, Mike, you are the godfather. I mean, holy smokes. You've been running the top of the game for a long time. There's nobody can argue that. That's for sure. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I see this thing up in the top of the corner saying we're live. Are we cracking?
Well, we're cutting, man. You can always edit something out. I'll say something stupid during this discussion, so we'll edit that part out. But you guys are too freaking monstrous not to just get everything.
So I should probably put some introduction at some point, so we have that for when we post onto the streaming platforms. Yeah.
I would like that, as long as you're popping the top and doing it.
Perfect. Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. I'm John Anderson. With me always my partners in crime, Nick Best and Akeem Williams. We have got a rockin' show for you today. And when I mean rockin', I mean rockin'. We have got the godfather, and I mean godfather of the fitness industry, here with us today. And there's nobody that's done it longer, nobody that's done it better. We're talking over 50 covers of mainstream publication magazines, TV shows, movies. Looks like a Greek god and strong as one too. Mike O Hearn, my brother, welcome to the show.
Who the heck are you talking about? I think that was the nicest way somebody can call me really old. That was really nice, man. I love that.
Oh
no, we're all getting up there.
You have taken and putting a serious whooping on Father Time. There's no question about that, you know. But I'll tell you what I really want to hear out of the gate is take us back to that basement where you got all your siblings. I believe you're a total of 8 of you guys, and you guys are 10. Oh my God, forgive me.
Wow.
10 of you guys. And you're down in the basement lifting weights, and you know it's time to go to bed because one of your parents turns the lights off in the basement. Talk us through some of those times. I mean, that is just I can't wait to hear some of this.
It was exactly like you said. I was bred for this. Our family was bred for this. My dad was a football player, bodybuilder. Mom was a martial artist, and my dad set up the downstairs of the house with tons and tons of weights, and then he made us all bunk beds, the boys, and then my sisters, all 5 of my sisters, lived upstairs. But I was the youngest boy, and it was, you guys know, this kind of rivalry you have with siblings. And so I was the youngest, and if one of them was lifting, that means I have to lift. And if the other one goes, that means I got to continue to lift. And so we're doing these 4 or 5 hour workouts and just continuously working through whatever we saw in the magazines. And I would just never stop. And it's exactly like you said. So my parents were great about it. My dad, for a living, was a school teacher. And so they're very disciplined, both educated people. And they said, which I love, they said, listen, there's 10 of you. So we can't just kind of baby you. You kind of have to grow up. And so that old school mentality is that, you know, we all had paper routes by 8, 9 years old. If they said lights out, it's lights out. in a perfect world, but they had the power surge in their room, you know. So they said, lights out. No lights out. We keep training. My dad just click, house power's gone. It's bedtime. So, and they just said, you know, it's just grow up. You know, you got to help out. You got to be smart about this stuff. There's 10 of us. Be smart, train, enjoy. But school is everything. And that's
cool.
I started lifting at 8 and 9. At 9, I remember the time my dad says, hey, if you're going to do this, you need to eat to do this. And so at 9 years old, I started a nutrition, and I've done it my whole life. And I'm this guy that can't comprehend not eating a meal every 3 hours. I can't comprehend. I don't know what that world is like. And I don't know what it's like not to work out.
Do your brothers, I mean, do they all look like they were, you know, because I say as a compliment, you look like you're a test tube, baby. You were like literally formulated in a laboratory. Are they the same way?
My sister won Miss Washington. She also took 4th at the North Americans. My brother, and she won the powerlifting, Washington State powerlifting. My other sister won the Washington State karate championship black belt. My brothers all competed in bodybuilding and powerlifting. In martial arts. I mean, and it was a rowdy house. Rowdy.
That's what I wanted to ask him. I was going to ask him if any of his sisters lifted also, because, you know, growing up, I got around all your brothers and everybody's lifting. I was just curious to see if any of your sisters got into it also.
And I think because my sisters did it was heightened on I had to do it.
Yeah. Because
the boys are boys, right?
Yeah.
But sisters, when they're lifting and they're out lifting you, or they're lifting you, you know, it's like I would say I'm getting my ass kicked from my older brothers, but when I'm getting my ass kicked from my older sisters, you know, then it's like I really got to turn up the volume of training and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was like a fight house.
Yeah.
Because everybody did martial arts, and so you know, my sisters are drop kicking me, saying, "Get out of the bathroom." You know, we have one bathroom. So
and they're all badass, so you had to listen, you know?
Yeah. It's funny. They were so badass. My mom said, she goes, you boys are so sensitive. It's like the girls are the boys and the boys are the girls in this house. You guys got to toughen up. And I'm like, that was the house. That's what I grew up in. And you're right. It's honestly like I was created for this lifestyle.
Wow. And straight up, man, it was like you were created in a test tube, and I say that as pure compliment. You know, it's you, and because really, what happened from the time you were, so this is kind of as you're in the house and kind of growing up, but it wasn't before you were what 17. You fill me in here, but you were 270 pounds. You know, shortly after you could drive, I believe, correct?
Yeah, it was 15. So
15, before you could drive.
You guys will know these names.
Jeez.
You guys will know these names. So you're as big as that little fish tank that they put you in, right? Mm-hmm. You know, the guy at the 24-hour fitness, if he does 315, that's the strong guy.
Yeah.
So imagine an ignorant kid that loves this sport that I get to team up with Jeff Magruder, Doyle Kennedy, Doug Furness, a teenager.
Oh man!
And I'm too dumb to know that. I thought these guys are regular. I didn't know they were the best in the world. That's a beautiful thing, though. Think about that.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Imagine being Nick's kid and going, "Dad, you're just as strong as everybody else," and thinking that is the average. That's huge. I don't think the world understands that. These guys were the very best at that time, and I'm this kid. Was like a mascot. By the time I was 13, I was at Jeff Magruder took me under his wing and started getting me ready for a powerlifting meet and a bodybuilding show. And I'm seeing these guys lift, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I can do that by 20. You know, I didn't know it's not longer than that, but those were my, I guess you would call them limits, the mind limits. And so I was blessed to be born like that, in a house like that. And then I was blessed to be around the limits of this.
You were programmed. You were programmed at the highest level. I mean, you got, I mean, Doyle Kennedy, I can remember looking at this guy as a kid going, I can only dream about being as strong as this guy. And you're training with him, you know?
Doug Furness's legs and how he squat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Furness's squat and Kennedy's deadlift. Kennedy was like what, the first guy that deadlifted 900 pounds?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And he was
something
just a
right there.
savage, man. Just a savage. That big old beard. You just
But that's the thing. I'm this kid around these guys that were so savage, and they treated me like a man.
Yeah.
I'm 13, 14, and I'm posing in the mirror, and sorry to the fans, but like Jeff slaps me in the face and says, "Put on a sweatshirt, stop posing, and lift the weights." You can't get away with that, but I freaking love that because that's a memory I still know today.
Yeah.
So,
That's that old school mentality right there. You can't show it off until you built it.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. So when did you actually, 270 pounds, you're just like a complete monster. You're like literally 14, 15 years old.
before I hit that 270, I was 14. I competed, and this is pre-puberty, and so I walked on stage. I walk on stage at 176 pounds rip, and I beat 19 other teenagers that were all 19 years old. And I come off there, and I'm like, wow, I'm 14, and I just beat this whole guy's going into college, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then I went through puberty, and it was good night.
Oh, that was lit. You weren't kidding when you said before puberty. You weren't kidding. That was literally before puberty. Oh my God!
Because I went from that height in 170 to, in a year and a half, to the most 275 pounds.
Wow.
By 15.
Jeez.
Wow.
And you've been 275 plus your whole life.
My whole life.
Wow.
Except for when you've died it down.
15.
And that's the thing, people that, everybody in the world has seen you in magazines and TV shows and movies, but what they don't understand is that you've been this creature since you were a teenager. I mean, I don't think that there's anybody else on the planet that we could try to think of that was that developed that early on and then also maintained it as long as you have. So it's really hard for people to comprehend,
Yeah, and I love that you guys have known me for a long time. Nick and I have known each other because we did battle back in the early 90s. And so
93.
Cool. And we were putting this, my team was putting this whole book together for my vitamin line, and we were going back to everything in print. So it shows me at 9 years old in the newspaper because I was winning races running half marathons.
Jesus Christ.
At 12 and 13.
What haven't you done, brother? Can you name one thing? That's totally awesome, man. I mean, winning running races, winning lifting contests, winning bodybuilding shows, all before puberty.
All before puberty. But I think it's just that foundation. I think I got lucky enough. Here it is. I think I got lucky enough that I was sheltered from the naysayers or what was possible, and I couldn't read for the life of me. And so I even pushed farther away from that aspect and go deeper into this side because I've lived my whole life scared that I don't want to give up this lifestyle because I don't want to have to work a 9 to 5.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think because I was lucky enough to have the parents I did, the siblings I did, Jeff Magruder right there, and not listening to the world saying you can't do that. You can't be on covers of magazines when you're 170. Well, but I think it's just those kind of blessings that old school mentality believes a dream is a dream. And I know no different.
Yeah.
When we were bullshitting about having you coming on, Nick was like, he's the last guy that beat me in California in powerlifting.
Nobody believes that.
Boy, I tell you what, it made a massive difference on me because I was like, that ain't happening again. And I put the hammer down. As hard as I was training, I trained harder.
You came back. Let me clarify this. I may have beat him at that, right? And I'm the last human alive that ever did that. I couldn't have done it from that day forward ever again. Because this man, he came back a year later, and I mean, he was just like, but we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
Why can't you be friends and want to fight at the same time like that?
True.
You can.
You can.
Absolutely.
We can.
Why
A lot of
can't we?
a lot of people can't do it.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
I mean, your
I
friends are
remember
the ones that are
Yeah.
going to push you the furthest.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
I don't understand that because that's the truth, man. I couldn't have beat him if it wasn't that day and the stars shined on me that day, which is cool. But it was also cool to see him continue on and have that fire. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I need to up mine. I got lucky that day. I got to keep going.
Like
Thank you. It's very kind.
you see that in bodybuilding all the time. Like even at the highest level, like at the Olympia, everybody's like looking at each other pissed off the whole time before we get on stage. And then the minute we get on stage and they do what they need to do, then everybody's friends after. But you would never see that, that whole camaraderie of just being cool with each other and, just taking it as a competition, but still remain friends. It's a little bit very interesting,
It's
And
not
it's
how
being a professional. It's being professional.
Yeah.
It's time to get it on. Everybody, listen. We're not friends till it's over.
Yeah.
And then the mutual respect stays no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Agreed.
you're both working hard. You're both doing everything you can. I mean, it's why be enemies over that when you can still push each other and help each other at the same time, and you both will achieve levels you never would have got to.
Nick, let me ask you this then, because if everybody's listening today, tell me that we're wrong here. You and me competed against each other. I beat you that last time.
Yep.
We became instant friends, and it never stopped.
No.
Why could we have done that? What happened, and then we stayed friends and pushed for each other.
Yeah.
Right in today's society, if somebody beats somebody or something like that, it's like it's not that wow, that was a good fight, man. That was impressive. I have respect for you. I want to continue to be around you. Because you're getting better. I want to hang on to that and go, wow, we're growing together.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
I don't think respect for other people's taught anymore, or respect for hard work and dedication and learning from each other. I mean, you go off on your own island and do your own thing. How are you going to learn anything different or new or more sets of eyes see things that people miss that can make you much more well-rounded?
Yeah,
I think
it's all about a game day thing, and that's it. Everything else should be friends.
You made a very, very key point. Learning from each other, learning from other people. Nowadays, nobody want to learn. Everybody think they know it all.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah,
very true. Very true.
The ones that think they know the most actually, for the most part, know the least.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? I love it. So let's shift gears here. So somewhere about early teen, maybe forgive me if I'm not correct, 18, 19, we have basically the Mike O Hearn explosion onto the fitness industry. 17. Oh my
17.
God. I swear to God, I thought I knew, but I've been off I've been giving enough credit. It's crazy. Holy
I think you're being kind. You're trying to say, well, at least you were 20 or something. You couldn't have, dirt. But
so you're all of a sudden on covers after cover, and you're 17. I mean, you're basically a kid, a man child, but physically you're a man, but you're still a 17-year-old. All of a sudden you're on covers. Talk to us about what the 17-year-old was going through in his mind.
When I was 17, that's when I started the magazines. And so I had to, and this is what's great for everybody listening. In our day, you had to have won. You had to be good. To make magazines. You couldn't be just whatever.
Yeah.
And the covers I was doing wasn't just covers. It was cover stories. So there's information behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes back to, I said, this is my dream. This is what I'm going to do. And I got put in the right place. And then I got good coaching as well. One of the things was I was winning powerlifting meets and I was competing in bodybuilding and in martial arts. So I continued to push that. And then Joe Weider got wind of me. And when he got wind of me, then the world opened up. I got my first covers and, I was flying around the world and I said, this is fun. This is fun.
I mean, did you like leave home at this early, 17, 18 years old, and you're on your own? So you're or did you still have your parents kind of helping you along the way?
Magazine started at 17, and I didn't finally leave until I was 20. And what it was I needed to make some decisions, obviously, what I was going to do, schooling and everything. And it just came down to a phone call, which is cool because my parents were very religious and they were very educated. And so the education back in that day was very important. And then I was also an All-American football player. So it was on top of that, hey, want to go down this road? But I was too young and too selfish that I liked knowing that the pressure was on me to do me. And so I liked the idea of following in the footsteps of Arnold and those guys. So by the time I was 20, I got a phone call from Joe, and he said, hey, love you, but I need you here under contract. Get yourself to California.
Wow.
Holy smokes. So 20 years old, so talk to us. You get off the plane, you're 20 years old, first time on your own. You're getting off the plane in Los Angeles. Talk us through what happens next. I mean, you go get an apartment. I mean, talk about, the world is at your fingertips. How did
love this? You'll love this. So the two things was I got to find a place and I got to get to Gold's. And so I found a place, and it's called a bachelor because it's 10 foot by 10 foot. And I was raised, be smart with your money, be smart with the money. So I found a place. It was like $470. It's 10 feet by 10 feet. There's no kitchen or anything. There's a bathroom there. And a guy just moved out of it and moved over to Santa Monica, Marina Del Rey. And the guy's name was, I didn't know who he was, Anthony Robbins. And so I moved into this place, Tony Robbins.
Oh, my God.
That's funny.
I got to tell him 30 years later, I moved into your apartment right after you moved out. And I don't know how he fit in it because it was 10 feet by 10 feet. If I lived down, I had this egg carton I put on the floor. I said, I have this much money. This is how much it will last. This is where I'm living. And this egg carton would actually block the front door if I laid down. And Tony's 6'5", 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he fit in there. So that was the first thing. Get a place. I was under contract with Weeder, and then I went to Gold's and went in and started training. And you guys kind of know this. Those years, 1990s, great times at Gold's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just the best.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it was a lot of fun training down there.
First training partner was Tom Platz, training legs.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
That must have been amazing.
That's like a rude awakening to leg training,
Right?
isn't it?
Yep.
It was awesome because I was that kid, and I was like, whatever you do, I'm going to try to beat one rep. And you guys know how.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That competitive energy is so strong. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. You're going to try to get one more.
Yeah.
And I came from a powerlifting gym to a bodybuilding gym. Now, the great thing about back in the 90s is everybody lifted heavy, but I was still a power lifter in a bodybuilding gym. And so it was great that at 20 years old, I was hanging and doing whatever I wanted to do in there. And so that was fun. That was the best time of my lifting career because everybody were savages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so you literally just showed up to Gold's, bam, Tom Platz is one of your partners. I mean, it's almost like the universe just lined up. So you just kind of somehow ended up in front of all these extremely influential people. And it was almost like the test tube experiment just kept getting greater and greater as time went forward. And I say all this with love. I mean, oh my God, I mean, the stuff that you got to experience, most people would only dream of.
John, he must have had some crazy stories about back in the days listening to Goals. I could only imagine.
Oh my God!
After 9 o'clock showing of this podcast, we'll talk about those. And,
so on that level, you got to give us the best sneak peek at something really that was just kind of nuts. And when I say nuts, you can go any direction that you saw in that. I mean, you're talking about one of the most powerful times ever in that gym. Like, what was some of the stuff that was going on there?
Honestly, the things I remember are the discussions with guys that were doing it. those were the most exciting things. It wasn't how many times I got hot girls or something like that. It was nothing like that for me. It was
brotherhood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, holy cow, I've lived my whole life in that locker room mentality because I got Gladiators within 2 months of being in LA. And so it's like, I've got to do athletics, lifting, and playing my whole life. And it's, I think, because we're not talking about the down times. We're not talking about the bad times. We're not talking about how I worked. Even though I had a contract with Weider, I still purposely bounced at night to make extra money. I still personal trained all day, and I still did my workouts at 4 o'clock. And Ed Cohen talked about that. He goes, I remember showing up every day at that gym, and he said I was sleeping in my car. I wasn't technically sleeping in my car. The only reason I was sleeping in my car was because I was in between clients. But I did live that lifestyle. I lived below my means of possibilities as these other guys were getting contracts and buying the nice cars and nice houses. I couldn't process it growing up like I did. I couldn't go, well, we don't have normal jobs, so why are you buying a nice car when next year's not promised?
Yeah.
Why are you buying a nice house when one injury away and you lose your endorsements? I don't understand why aren't you guys putting the money away or buying investments instead of spending it. So I didn't hang with many people. I was a lone wolf, but I trained with all of them.
And that goes right back to that mental programming, man. You were just programmed to get the work done. You weren't programmed to flash. You were just getting it done. Obviously got contracts, but you're still personal training. You lived in that little spot you're talking about. It's like your programming just kind of put you in this place where forward progress was the currency. It wasn't the nice car. That wasn't the currency.
Yeah, I never, and my girl's trying to teach me different now. But, because as hard as mostly now, for anybody out there listening, go through the struggle when you're young because you can't go through it when you're old. Let me explain that again. You can struggle and live in a shitty apartment and drive a bad car when you're young and save that money to when you're old, because when you get older, you'll be able to do it and you'll have more energy, but maybe you'll have responsibilities. And so you can't live in a shitty apartment if you have 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do it if you're on your own. Struggle, purposely struggle. And I think that was my thing is I purposely struggled on the things I can control. I don't need a nice place. If a girl doesn't like me, she don't like me. I don't care. I don't need a nice car. I just need to get to the gym. So,
that's like the fighter's mentality. They want to keep that fighter in the crappy little apartment. They don't want him buying a nice house. They don't want him with the nice shit because he gets soft. And you were doing that to yourself as a young man, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, I always believed that the silk sheets would wreck me. I don't want the nice house. I don't want the nice car. I don't deserve it yet.
Well, you got them now, so now what? I'm sure with the wife you got him now, so
it is
so
crazy.
now what?
I mean, this whole thing is like, obviously hearing you talk in detail about this, I mean, it was all literally almost like it was planned out, I mean, obviously you were executing what you were programmed to do, but I mean, it was literally most early 20s start making some money. First thing they're doing is going to buy a nice fucking car.
True.
Even though they're living in an apartment, they still want that nice car. You on the other side, you're busting your ass, you're doing all the things you need to get ahead. But I love that you kept yourself in that struggle so you would continue to move ahead like that. And were you literally consciously aware, or was it just kind of the way you were bred?
I think it was the way I was bred. And again, I have a huge chip on my shoulder that I use in a positive light and not a negative. I knew I couldn't read and write. I knew I couldn't do stuff. And I knew that football was a great option. But again, I'm going to have to do something, like high school pushed me through because we were state champs every year. They're just like, Mike, don't worry about it. We'll get you through. Just play ball. So I actually grew up in that kind of TV show where they're like, kid, just play ball. And I'm like a kid, and I'm like, all right. So I was just too scared that if I didn't continue and stay consistent, something was going to happen and I was going to end up. So,
you know, we talked about that not too long ago, about how the challenges of being, you know, struggling with schooling and having to work extra hard was really the biggest blessing in all this, because you had to use those shortcomings. You had to find a way around them. And obviously you became so good at the things you were good at, you could leave reading and writing alone. I mean, hell, I went through college and I didn't read a single goddamn book. So I understand the struggle perfectly.
It's an amazing thing we can do if you use the scaredness or the unsure or the chip on your shoulder for positive. Be yourself.
Yeah.
And don't destroy yourself.
Yeah. You know, and the one thing I'd love too is, you know, as you say, the chip on your shoulder, but I think people that don't know you don't understand it's a very positive chip. It's not a chip like, you know, your chip is going to be uplifting people through positivity and working hard, when a lot of times people's chip on their shoulder is to push others down so that they can stay where they want to be. And that's not you. And for someone that's not ever got a chance to speak with you or understand you, that, you know, that they just see the guy on the cover of the fucking magazine every week. This son of a bitch must be an asshole, you know. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. You know,
Very much so.
Everybody that comes in contact with you is going to be it's always an uplifting story of positivity. And that's one thing I've always had huge respect, brother. You know,
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. I like the fact that my life has been in print or in magazines or on videos, because I don't talk negative about people. Never been in print talking bad about somebody else or anything. And it's cool that I've been in it long enough to see people like Ed Cohen come around the backside 20 years later and go and say positive things, you know, or others like that, or Nick to say that, that punk, that was the last guy that beat me in a powerlifting meet, but nobody would believe that looking at me. And so it's cool to have guys that I know that are out there going, good job. Way to stay on course and way not to mess up.
Mike, why wouldn't they believe that looking at you? You're huge. They're absolutely going to believe that. I don't know if you realize this or not, but you're a big dude. And really strong. So
really strong, yeah. Really
yeah,
strong.
that's the key. There's plenty of dudes that are that look good, and there's plenty of dudes that are really strong. Rarely do you tie those two together for any length of time. And
can I ask you guys that? Because
what's that?
We're all big guys, and we know big guys. Can I ask you a question though? And Nick, you've been there with me on strength levels and stuff like that, and surpassed. And is there a thing where? Because I always think about, is there a total where, you know, when I was 15, I squatted 600 and deadlifted 600 and benched 400. And I was 15 years old, 16 years old, and now I'm in my mid 50s and I'm still doing the same. But I've been doing the same every single week, every single, you know, day for that long. What would that be?
Impossible to most people.
Well, why don't people look at that? Because most people always just say, they look at the physique and go, why don't they ever speak about the strength? Because the strength has just stayed the same.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really amazing feat. I mean, there's very few people that have been able to lift like that for that many years at a time, and there's a handful of us. I mean, maybe 10 total ever that has been able to maintain that for very long. And I don't know why people don't look at that or think about that. One, it takes a lot of work and it's a long time, and it's not something you can get instant gratification from.
Right.
So it's something you have to grind in, grind out, day in, day out, year in, year out, decade out. And I mean, it's been what, 4 decades nearly?
40 years I've been that strong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's something to be totally honest. I mean, it's like literally when I say impossible, it's you're probably the only person that has been that strong, that consistently, that long. Nick, obviously you're sitting right there too. But I mean, what's that?
That's something
What were
Mike
you saying?
I was gonna tell Mike, that's something you might want to look into. Because that's very impressive. To have that strength at that level.
I keep it to myself because I just go, these guys all argue about physiques because physiques is like, oh, well, he looks like this, so that's no way. Yeah. But I'm like, but you can talk to anybody from the 80s, Bull Stewart.
Yep.
The 90s, but every day you walk into Gold's, there wasn't a day that Mike went in and benched 225. You know, it wasn't that. It was always the same.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
or more, or more.
Well, and a lot of times too, you got to remember that most people think of strong guy. They think of a strong guy. They don't think of the guy that's also got the physique that's on the cover of magazines. You know, putting those two together is something that most people. I mean, everybody can see what you look like, but then the fact that you're as strong as can be, it almost is like people don't look past the physique. It's like. Wait a minute, strong also? They're so caught up in the covers, and I mean and plus you got that classic look. I mean
it's almost like a Ronnie Coleman effect, basically, because Ronnie Coleman had the physique and the strength to back it up.
Yeah.
And you don't really see that much. Sometimes you have the strength but you don't have the physique. So that's definitely something impressive.
No, it's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
I think it's just again that learning phase that I knew that it wasn't the muscle that was going to keep me. It was the injury was going to end me, or if the connective tissue ever got weak and brittle and shit. And it's like,
yes, that's another thing. Talk about that, brother, because that's one thing that most people don't have a clue on. We're talking about tendon strength. We're talking about bone density. You're the guy doing all this crazy stuff and you don't wear much support equipment.
I don't wear it. I've always believed when I learned early enough that I had to go in and lift heavy every time. And I've done it my whole life. Well, do you lift light? No. I'll lift awkward ways with moderately lightweight, but it's still heavy weight. But it was just the understanding that like a monkey is very thin, but it can tear a man's arm off. And I always correlate that with like wrestlers. You get a 180-pound wrestler, and that's man strength because he can grab onto a 250-pound bodybuilder and drag him around the mat and toss his ass. And I'm like, I need that. I need that man strength where the connective, I can just grab the human and break his arm. Sure, it'd be cool to look good, but I need to be strong every day. And then I got to be healthy because I got to do it for a lifetime. So that was my approach to lifting. It still is today.
Yeah, because most times when you see people move big weights, there's numerous pieces of support equipment, and that's not you, which is it's pretty amazing, especially for the test of time. I mean, I would love to see what, on a test, what your bone density must be like. It must be like completely off the charts.
Bone density is good, but I want to test the connective. I want the ligaments. I want to see how healthy those are.
It's kind of funny because there is nothing like that out there.
No.
Nobody talks about this. I talk about it to people a lot, and they look at me like I'm crazy because, I train either 3 or 4 days a week, kind of depending on the week. But the rest, the muscle heals in 3-4 days. As we get older, a little bit longer, but it's the connective tissue that doesn't heal for a week. And that's what people really don't seem to understand. And you got a very valid point there, that it's your connective tissue that's going to create your longevity. And the healthier you can keep your connective tissue healthy, the longer you're going to last. It just gets stronger as you get older. It loses its elasticity.
Yeah, they'll understand it in time. I don't know if our generation will understand that, but it just seems like, I don't know why I believe that. And I don't know why that I got lucky to discover that so young. But when I was in my 20s, training with all these guys, all the greats, I sat there and I looked at the ups and downs. Get huge, get small, do this, get that. And I'm like, if I can stay 60 to 70 all the time, I might be able to pass a couple. And then so 1 year goes, all right, I did it. I passed a couple. I stay at 70, pass a couple more. And I stayed like that where everybody else, you guys know this, 100. Done. How many people do we know that done that? They go 100 miles an hour for 2 years and they're done.
Flash in the pan, in and out, just like that. Yeah.
Tons. Half the young kids that come into our sport or my sport, yeah, they do that. They come up, they rise like a shooting star, and then they're gone because their body just can't handle it.
You even see that just in regular gym goers.
Yeah,
you see guys that come in and you know, that's where it's most common. Hell, you see it on Instagram. You see get Insta famous and they're gone in 6 months, you know, because they can't carry it. You know, they got themselves some abs that they could Photoshop in just enough to become an influencer, but they can't stay there long enough to haul it out, you know?
It's a crazy thing because we should talk about Instagram because, I mean, you guys know, and then it's like, I've been here too long. I look like what I look like, guys. You know, it's like I was on covers of magazine before Photoshop. It looked like,
yeah, that's true. That's good.
That's like the best thing ever right there.
There was no Photoshop in the beginning.
I've been on covers of magazines before there was Photoshop.
These guys are going, you're Photoshopping this or that. It's like, guys, look at this generation. But on top of that, now they're going, and you guys will laugh at this because it's not heavy. But I did a 405 for 6 on inclines and stuff. And I get up and people are like, "Oh, that's fake weight," and I'm like, "I'm not the guy to say that to." I'm your grandfather, kid. We don't use fake weight. You know, it's just like it's such a weird thing with social media.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
absolutely crazy. So on this whole level of like bone density and tendons, have there been any injuries along the way?
I've never been injured.
I knew you were going to say that, and that's just like that. That is insane.
You know, that's everybody can get injured no matter what you do. But I've been lucky enough to do.
Never had an injury.
20 years had a Gladiators, and this is not just lifting. This 20 years of Gladiators, fighting 6 guys a day, battle dome, martial arts, powerlifting, bodybuilding, doing it all. Never been injured.
Wow.
Nice.
And again, truly believe. And I'll give you a correlation because we don't think of who we really are and stuff. You know, I don't think of myself as a 170-year-old man, even though I am. But when I fell off the stage.
I was going to ask you about that, and you still didn't get hurt. Unbelievable.
I did judo for so many years. I didn't realize I did a judo slap after I fell off in the pitch dark. And I hit the ground, I jumped up, and I went and started posing. And after it was all over and everything, and people were going, "Oh man, you played that up, dude! I thought you really fell." And I'm like, "Nope, not me." Dude, I was the biggest idiot. I didn't see that stage. I slammed and fell 6 feet in the pitch dark.
I was going to say, that looked like a long way down? Was that a full 6 feet?
Full 6 feet.
Wow!
Got instantly up and started posing. But I didn't think about this until that night when I was with my girl. I go, I didn't think about this, but if a 50-year-old man fell off a thing, it would have broke their hip. I'm like, I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky. Everything was so strong that I got up and kept going.
Well, I think it's fair to say that we're not comparing you to an average 50-year-old man. I don't think that's ever going to be part of our equation in this discussion.
No, not going to happen.
But yeah, just everybody out there that's listening, man, injury can happen to anybody. But I'm just been blessed enough that nothing's happened yet. And I think, training
one of those things, brother, you put this thing in motion from that early age, and it's never stopped. You know, obviously, you get a lot of injuries. People get injuries, especially when there's any sort of a start and stop, or someone, I need to take a break, and then they re-engage. You know, the body a lot of times won't kind of reacclimate the same way. I've had a lot of friends that have taken a year off. They never make it back. Their bodies won't reacclimate when they get to be a certain age. So never stopping.
Don't go past that, because what you just said, something I live in every day. Mm-hmm. They stop for a year, right? And they never go back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have believed since I was 15 years old, the day I don't go in and squat will be the day I never go back. And I've never, every leg day, I'm going, and I'm squatting heavy. It's a right weird thing, but
I'm right there with you. 100%.
No,
Is that a
no,
weird thing? Isn't that
You're-
weird?
you're right. You're right. You're definitely right. 'Cause-
Well, I mean, you break it down, and the people that take a break, you don't take a break from something you love. So that's the missing link. They don't love it. You know, if you love something, you don't take a year off.
No.
It's a job to them, and that's the difference. You know that you've been doing this at the test of time. I mean, clearly, it's a deep love and a passion. I mean, I don't think you could imagine your life without it.
No, yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't. And if anybody out there wants to do any kind of studying, Wolff's Law is the science behind bone density and how it makes it stronger, almost like a superhero. And then Davis Law is the study of science on connective tissue. Both read up on, and then you'll have a better understanding of when I talk about my training, what I believe in. Now, I've been blessed enough to do this because I know, like for Nick has to get stronger.
Correct.
So, right? That's you got to get stronger to be the very best. I got to a point at 20 where I was like, I'm strong enough. My body was good enough. I didn't need to go down the wrong angle for me and go, I need the 1,000-pound squat. I didn't need it. I didn't need to get to 300 pounds and on stage. So I started training going, let me just go up a percentage a year. Let me just keep going. Let me keep going. And
was this pro? I mean, what you're saying is brilliant, especially for a young man. I mean, did you have influence that were helping you? Did some of the people you came and trained with say, look, you're in a place right now where your job is just to stay in it. Don't take that risk. Make those small jumps. Or was this part of your test tube program?
Two things. I think it's all been that. I think two things. One is, and I was just watching a video. And if you guys ever do this, watch your young videos and you sit there and you watch your young self and you go, good job. I had a good head on my shoulder. I'm interviewing Anthony Clark and I'm 22 years old. And I'm asking him questions about what'd you eat the night before? When you were walking up to the bar, what was going on in your mind? Were you a fight? Was it a calm aggression? Was it a controlled aggression? What was, and I was like, I'm asking good questions for a 20-year-old. And so I think the two things was I was already stronger than everybody at Gold's when I walked in. So that was one thing that said, okay, why don't I look like them? If I'm stronger than them, why don't I look? And people, you know this. People correlate strength with how you should look. Is that true?
Yeah.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Does it happen?
Well, reality is not supposed to.
No, it doesn't
How
happen.
many guys do you know that squat 500-600 pounds and don't have those kind of legs?
Yeah.
Almost all of them.
Yeah. I mean, you got guys that don't have legs that are squatting 700 pounds.
A 181 power lifter, I always take that because it's a middle size, but they were squatting like 400 or 500 pounds. 3 years later, they're still 181, but they're squatting 700. They put no muscularity on it. People have got to realize just because you're strong doesn't mean you're going to build the muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I go, I'm stronger than all of them. I don't look nearly as good. So what's going on? So those are kind of like the learning moments for me, I think, just being around that crew.
Yeah.
So what did you find out it was? Sorry, John.
Connection.
No, it's all right, brother.
Connection.
Must
It has to be a connection. It has to be driven from the muscle to build the muscle. Compared to strength needs to be mechanically correct with enough force to move through the heavy stuff. So I think it's two different things. Like a powerlifting squat to me now is 100% different than a bodybuilding squat. And
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I know guys that squat 225, 315 who have monstrous legs.
Huge.
So I think the world needs to understand those two don't go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Unless they're talking about you.
I think for me, remember, I was squatting 7. I went up to my best squat was 815 in the gym, but but I didn't have Tom Platz legs, and I didn't have as good legs then as I do now.
Yeah.
So it was time. It was time. It was time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Time and work.
It's crazy to hear you talk about all this stuff, because we're talking about generations of, and you're still here. I mean, you're talking about working out with Tom Platz, and yet you're still as relevant as can be. It's kind of crazy. It's almost like we're jumping in a time machine, going through time, listening to you talk. This is really cool.
To Highlander.
There could be only one.
I love it. So on that level, brother.
Also,
go ahead, please.
But I don't think most people could have this conversation with me if they weren't you guys.
Yeah.
Because you had to have been on the road. You have had to have, why am I not getting bigger traps? Why am I not getting bigger shoulders? I'm really, really strong. Or why am I getting injured? What do I need to change? What's going on with my food? You guys dissect. You guys are doctors in this. You guys fully understand, so we can have this communication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're talking about different types, stylistic types of training, you know, obviously like a squat for power, squat for bodybuilding. If you had to say, what was your favorite style of training, or do you just love it all?
Oh, I love it all.
I was afraid that was going to be the answer.
You guys are sparring. That kind of workout today is still the same thing. When you got somebody who comes in that's strong and you guys just start battling, and he'll do, I don't care if it's 315 for 20, 30 reps, then you got to beat that. I like that gladiator mentality of the battle. I live for that battle. That battle keeps me alive.
Unfortunately, I think that's kind of dead right now, though. You don't find that anymore.
Yeah,
I got to do that with Brian. Last weekend, so that was kind of cool. I mean, it's Brian. I mean, he's 4 times world's strongest man, so it's you're gonna go out there and give it everything you got. But we had a heck of a training day up there, up at his place. I mean, it was.
But didn't you feel alive?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh man.
Oh, it was so much fun. I mean, it was, and I don't think this generation gets that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's dead.
I don't think they understand. It's like you go in there and you get after it. You're going to get him on certain things, and he's going to get you on other things, and you push each other, and you learn from each other, and you make each other better. I mean, just all the way around.
There's no drug that will give you the high that you get from battling out like this. The body has the best drug. You just have to push yourself hard enough to get it to give you the good stuff.
Yeah. And then it gets serious. I mean, we did yoke runs on the minute, every minute for 20 minutes with 570 pounds. So, and we were at 7,700 feet altitude.
Oh,
so
mercy.
we were up at altitude, and that's what we finished with. And that was one of the most amazing experiences. By the time I was done, I was almost floating through the gym. I mean, it was just freaking amazing. And I mean, we just got after it.
Nick, I'm sure you had a lot of coca leaf on hand, huh?
No, we were in Colorado, not Colombia.
I love it. So, brother, who are the best battles? You talk about that battle. Talk to us about some of the best battles in you've ever had in your training in your whole life. Obviously, Tom Platz, you just mentioned.
In my young years, because the most I've ever done is 54 squats, one set with 315.
Oh,
and
mercy.
Doing that at 21 years old, while Tom Platz is doing his, that was like my ultimate. That was great then. Stan, Efferton, and me have had some battles, and they're just so fun. They're just we did a squat off with sets after sets and after sets, and it was like you had to win each set. So
crazy.
It's just, and you know what? It's like I've trained with Brian, and I've trained with Thor, and I've trained with these guys. It's just the interaction and doing that. Like you guys, it's like a basketball player going out and playing a little one-on-one with somebody. It's like, if people don't understand that kind of concept or that he's raising you to another level that you have to go to that you may never have gone to, that's a fun thing to experience being alive this one time.
Yep.
So if the kids go, well, I don't want to do battle. I don't want to go that heavy. You don't have to, but man, I'm telling you that there's something for me that I like that fight. I like that. I like being in the where you hear the voice in your head going, dude, he's beating you. Are you really gonna? You really know that voice in the head?
Yeah.
It's like that voice puts me off.
Yeah,
dig that down and
voice can
find the
really
other
get
gear.
under
Let's
your
go.
skin. Yeah, that voice will drive you to do some crazy things, you know. Push yourself deep.
Yeah, well aware.
Yeah.
I've heard that voice a lot.
When it comes
So-
to nutrition for you guys, are you guys pretty regimented? Do you take time off? Do you?
Brother, you just took literally my next
I'm
question
sorry.
right out of my mouth. No, I love it. You're like reading my mind. This is perfect because one of the things that that literally I want you to talk about is you've been doing your diet since you said way back when you were a teen.
9 years
So
old.
we're talking 9 years old. Excuse me. I keep shortening you. My apologies, brother. So you're talking 40 what? Do some math for me here. 44 years?
44 years.
44 years.
44 years. I've been dieting. Where most people
Yes.
go, I can't last 2 weeks. I've done it for 44
Yeah.
years.
So you've done that. You've done that through obviously regular life. You've done it through, training people. You've done it through movie production, TV shows. So kind of talk to people a little bit about, where is the excuse come from for we know there's not an excuse, but I mean, for you, doesn't matter what the hurdle is, you're still going to find a way to get it done, and that's something that most people, you hit it on the head. Do you take breaks from dieting? No. Should you ever? No.
I don't care if you're injured or what. The meals stay because they're going to say the same thing. They're going to say, well, it's the workouts that do it. Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. It is nutrition.
Yeah.
I don't care. Listen, man, nutrition isn't like medicine. Nutrition is medicine.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that. People are like so fragile nowadays. Where it's like, I'm sorry. So fragile nowadays. It's like, look at you're eating one time every 2 days and stuff. And it's like,
so you're on a movie set. You got limited time. You're filming a Gladiator series. They're doing the whole season in 6 days. Time is a commodity. How do you get through it? How do you do it? You plan ahead. You talk to us about that.
yeah, the reason why I'd say I'm bad is because I don't comprehend not having the meal. The meals are always the first, no matter what I'm doing. So I've lived in a lifestyle where I know no different. So it's like the child, the first 2 years, 3 years, they got to eat every 2 hours or on mama's. So it's the same thing, it's like, I can't go do something. I don't go to get on a plane without having my meals scheduled out through the flight. My meal's already there in the location. And I've always lived that way. And it's just, I can't give tips except to say, freaking do it.
Yeah.
Stop saying it's the gym. You're going to skip something. Skip the gym, but don't skip your meals.
Yeah. Little pre-planning and no excuses, huh?
Yeah, and they also have to get creative. I mean, there's ways to still eat around your diet or very similar to your diet as you're traveling. There's places that make rice. There's places that make, you can have them make a hamburger patty and tear up the hamburger patty. There's things you can do while you're out to eat as close to what you're doing as possible. I mean, it can be done. You just have to have the discipline and just ask the questions and go after it.
But what I tell people is, listen, you can always find a way to get a Ziploc sack with 6 hard-boiled eggs that are peeled. You can get those in your pockets. You got those in your pockets. You got 2 emergency meals if you need be. There's no excuse to miss a time for feeding. Maybe it's not going to be exactly what you're supposed to eat, but we all know if you're eating some eggs in place of a missed meal, you're going to be just fine, But the bottom line is you got to look at what the possibilities are. You got to plan ahead and you got to make sure you get the job done. It's that simple,
2 things. One is for anybody listening and thinking, I want to be as big as you. We're not talking about us. We're talking about healthiness. We're talking about retaining your muscle. We're talking about you women that don't think weightlifting is good for you when you guys need it more than us because of bone density. We're just talking about anybody, everybody. So don't look at us and go, You guys are all 300-pound guys. I don't want to be that big. I get it. But at the same time, you want to be healthy. It's our one life. And go, well, I just want to be rich. I know a lot of freaking millionaires, and all they want to be healthy now at their age. So don't give me that.
Yeah.
And the second thing I was going to say, I was flying in the 80s, and as easy as it is now, in the 80s, I would take my backpack and my luggage, fill it with tuna cans, when you could do this back in the 80s, and baby food. And I'd be off on the next trip. And that's how I was traveling. You imagine how simple. Pain in the ass that is?
But your bottom line is you're getting it done.
Did it?
Getting it done.
So you know that. The baby food and tuna. That's how we used to travel in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
We got it done.
Yep.
Now,
Been there, done that.
You can't. So.
Yeah, I can't. That term needs to never enter the equation. If someone's saying I can't, they've got to completely reconstruct what they're thinking and what they're doing, because if that exists, they're not making it. There's always a way.
Always.
So I got a question. I was raised to raise myself because I come from 10, but I also was raised in an old school mentality that hard work pays off. So what do you tell the kids that are watching today that because they didn't have our upbringing of discipline or whatever it is, what could they do today to install that kind of work ethic where it's like, no, I don't miss meals. I don't miss my workouts. I get to bed on time. I don't need to party. This is more important. What do you guys say?
I got kids that are, my girls are, right now 19, going to be 18 next month. And obviously my oldest one, but she kind of not in the equation. But the bottom line is the words that these kids use, it's awkward. It's uncomfortable. No shit. That's life. It's like somehow society has made it to where if they're uncomfortable, if it feels awkward, get them away from whatever it is rather than push them deeper into it. You got to learn to be comfortable when you're uncomfortable. That's what life is. And somehow our society has basically made it okay to use one of these words and, get out of Dodge to where they don't have to overcome the obstacle in front of them. I mean, what do you say to it? I mean, oh my God, there's millions of people running around that think that they can use the word awkward and they're out of the they're out of the situation. That's a great question, man. I don't know, because I struggled just with my two teenagers to get them past that.
I would go along the lines of basically setting goals. I think nowadays, especially today's generation, they don't set goals. Not like back in the days how I grew up. They don't set goals at all. And when you set goals, it's a way to a means for you to just go out there and try to achieve. And I feel like that's what's lacking nowadays. They don't put that goal, that reachable goal, attainable goal out there that they say, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve that.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, brother, Mike, you have, I swear to God, you're like just a half a step ahead of where I'm going, because I was going to actually talk to you about your boy next. Well, now we can talk about this concept with obviously the raising of your boy.
Mm-hmm.
So two things. One is, I love that Akam said that because of the fact that when I was 9, 10, 11, I have this book. And I still always carry my books with me. But in this book, I measured my arms, I measured and I tested my strength levels. And every 3 months, I would take a picture and do this. And I have this book from 19 years old to 30 years old. That whole period of time, my workouts that Jeff Magruder gave to me, Doyle Kennedy's deadlift workouts that he gave to me, Doug Furness's squat workouts that he gave to me. And so I have this book of workouts and goal setting. Okay, this is what my arms are at this age. This is how big I want them at this age.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that people are going, wow, I don't need bigger arms than this and that. It's not about that. It's about whatever the goal is that you want. I knew at that age, it was this or nothing.
Yeah.
I knew this was my life, and I got to do it. And I started that journal as a 9-year-old. And it's great because you see me writing, and I'm writing bicep wrong, you know, I'm writing whatever. But the point is that it was like the will was there to set goals at that age. Why aren't they doing it? Why aren't they putting the affirmation on the wall? Why aren't they saying, we got the one life?
Because anything that you achieve in school has been taken away. When you go to school, my daughter, there was a thing called the Great American Challenge. It was like the Gettysburg Address, the Pledge of Allegiance, all the presidents of the United States, all the states and the capitals in alphabetical order. I don't know if I said the Gettysburg Address already.
I think you did.
There was a whole bunch of things that you had to do to get this. And my daughter was one of 3 kids in her entire class that were able to do the whole thing at the end of the year. So they went up there and they got their little piece of paper, their little slip. But they didn't want everyone else to feel bad. So then everybody got to come up and get a piece of paper saying they tried.
Yeah,
and
the good old trophy for participation.
Correct. It is absolutely destroying any value on winning. At the same time as it's destroying any value on
hard work,
on hard work and achieving.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't work hard, you don't eat, huh?
When you get beat, that makes you a champion.
Correct.
Yeah.
I could never beat Bull Stewart in a powerlifting meet, and I'm glad I didn't, because it put a fire under my ass so big that it was like, okay, I'll just keep working, outlast him. No, I can't outlast him because he's 60 doing 700 pounds for still 10 reps. But the point is, if I beat him, I guarantee I would have been, I beat the very best at that time. And so now I don't need to worry about it. If my physique grew as quick as my strength did, and I started winning, going IFBB or something, I probably would have went down another route. I love the fact that I did lose when I needed to lose. That made me work harder and go, okay, I need to go this way. I need to go this way. Life's given me this. Nobody goes over here. I'm going over there. But that's where you discover that stuff. You went through college, didn't read a book. I believe that.
I tried. It just didn't work, you know?
So I don't know. I think there's something about you got to lose and come back. You got to lose and come back, or at least get beat, or come close, or battle, freaking battle.
Shows character. It builds that character. And shows what you're made of.
I mean, we get your butt whipped. How you deal with that is what actually your character's made of. You got to learn to problem solve. You got to learn to recognize, okay, you know, this is tough, but I'm going to get better because of it. All of this comes through getting your big time adversity, getting your back put against the wall is what's needed to develop all this stuff.
What Mike said earlier, if he didn't beat Nick wouldn't take it up a next level.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
If I had walked through that contest and you know, won that easily, because I broke the state record in the squat that day. I did like 727 at 220. You know, and because I think we were in the 220s that day, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
We were 242.
Were we? Yeah, we were. You're right. We were 42s. I did the 220s in 91.
When Nick was telling that story, hold on, I just got to say, I love what you're telling that story to me. In your head was just, after he beat me, I never got beat again. Just he wouldn't stop. Wouldn't stop taking his You can feel.
That's the guy I want to hang out with. Hang out with that guy going, you ain't beating me again.
That's it. He just no, never happened again. Nope, I never got beaten. California, I always won after that.
Yeah, it was a good run. It was a lot of fun.
We were different then, though, and that's one thing I was telling my team here. I try to help. I try to help the young ones, and I've seen the next great Arnold come and go every year since I've been at Golds. You know, this guy comes in, he's got everything, the looks, the body. This guy's going to win everything and do everything. And for some reason, just there's a little bit something that's not there firing mentally. That it's like, well, I just gave you 10 things that you shouldn't do, and he's over there doing them. And I'm like, and in a year, he's gone. And it's like,
Yeah.
when I remember this, I beat you. Cool, whatever. But a year later, I saw you after you went back and you won it.
Mm-hmm.
And you came to Golds and you were walking up the steps and I see you and I just smiled because I was like, there's a man I did battle with, right? And you were telling me about your squat and it was like 777, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was like, you just crushed it. And I'm like, that's cool, but you were focused. There was a clarity to my conversation with you. I knew who you were. I knew what you wanted. I knew your goals without you telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So talk to us about the little guy, Mike. Obviously, we talked a little bit about how he came along, just kind of made you personally kind of went to the next level because obviously there's a whole new purpose in life. Obviously, but tell us about him. I can't wait to watch him grow up under your tutelage. I got to tell you that.
I'm blessed to have a baby mama that I do with that little guy. So I gotta, which makes me respect American even more. She's more of a savage than I'll ever be, the missus. But we agreed on how to raise him food wise, emotionally wise. And I've been blessed in these last 2 years to see him growing and doing what he's doing. And he's just this little smile. He came out and he was smiling. And the kid's still smiling today. It's just fun to see how happy he is. On the side note, I took what I learned at a young age, and I know that it's, and I hope they prove this one day. It's like all the hate against me from whatever. If they didn't like me, oh boy, when they see him. Because this kid is almost 4 feet tall at 2 years old. He's already 50 pounds, so he's bigger than a size 5-year-old kid. And I'm
you
like,
say 4 feet tall? Did I hear that correctly?
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
50
That's
pounds.
crazy.
And the things we did with him was the consistent on, which Mona was great about, because most parents, they'll feed for a while and they won't stay with it. This kid has never missed a meal every 3 hours since the day he was born.
Wow.
And people are going to go, what do you mean by that? No, it's straight up. He eats 110 grams of protein a day. We didn't give him carbohydrates for the first 2 years because babies don't have the enzymes to use carbohydrates. So there was no reason to do that. So we gave him fatty steak and was most of his meals by the time he was 8 months old. And he gets goat milk, duck eggs, and regular milk. And he's on. I don't think he knows what the word starving means. So, but again, he's gonna be a monster. So we started him swimming at 3 months old. We don't have him do anything that he doesn't go to. So we take him to jiu-jitsu, and unless he goes on the mat, we don't force him to go on the mat. And he goes right on the mat. We don't force him to do swimming twice a week. As soon as the coach walks in, he runs to the pool. We don't teach him to pick up the kettlebells and do anything like that. And he does it just because he watches Mama and me doing it. So it's cool to see the process. And it also makes me go, well, I got to be around for the next 20 or 30 years. Yeah. And I got to be a savage.
In good shape.
Yo, Dad, I want the car keys right now.
Dad, I want the car keys. Yes, son.
Well, I mean, you've been defying Father Time this far. I don't see that changing anytime soon, brother. I mean, you got the formula for sure. You know.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's fatherhood. I've always been a dog guy, and I'm still a dog guy, and I'm so glad that I waited to have a son at this age, with me being mature enough to have a son. Man, this is fun.
It gets better. Trust me, it gets better. Mine just turned 21.
That's the commonality with everybody that's a parent, and they say that, and I'm like, how's it get better than this? This is pretty awesome.
It's crazy because you can't, as someone who's not a father, it's really difficult. You can't describe to them what they're going to feel when they become a father. You know, it's like, and then you only really get to understand when you become a father, and then it just, I mean, it's so fulfilling. You know, it brings a whole different dimension to life that you didn't know existed. You know, and it's amazing.
I went through my whole life like that. I went through my whole life going, hey, Mike, you need to have a kid. Yeah, I'm good. I got a dog. I'm good. Dogs are great. Dogs are great and still my baby. But yeah, I will never say to a person that hasn't had a kid, hey, you need to have a kid, because you really can't explain it. There's no word for it.
I would equate it to like your heart running around outside your body.
Okay. Fair.
You know, all your love, all your heart, just running around doing things.
Why do you want to cry? He runs up to me and kisses me and says, hi, Daddy, I love you. And I always want to cry. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, what is that about?
Dude, I swear to God, I've cried more as a parent than I had. You know, it's unbelievable. And it's like, but it's happy tears. It's a different type of cry. You know, it's like, you know, until you experience, it's like that emotion just spools up and comes out, and you realize it's a good thing. It takes a little while, you know, to embrace those tears. You know, the fact that a lot of times my daughters would think, you know, something wrong. And no, this is a happy cry, kiddo. You know,
I'm really proud of you. So just everything's okay. I'm just swelling, so it's good.
I love it.
It's gonna, like I said, brother, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch the little one grow up with everything that you've done yourself and your knowledge that you have, and even what you go real quick. You were talking about what you had, how basically you kind of fed Mona prior to leading up. There was a preload, so to speak. Here, talk about that. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, there was a year preload, so we trained her and fed her, getting ready to have the baby for a year, just making sure she was on point. And she's pretty incredible too, because it's kind of cool to see her. She won the Miss Universe IFBB Pro and all that stuff. And so she was already running the magazines at Muscle and Fitness, hers and stuff, when we met. And she was already a champion. And it's cool to see a woman that's in her 40s change her physique from when she won the universe, and she looks better now, 7-8 years later with me, from training the way I train and having a baby. It's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to look better in your 30s when you're winning the universe than you are after a baby in your 40s. So that's cool. But we set her up. It's all about just strength, keep a good posture and all that. And we fed her really well. And what's cool about her too is nervous system training, or that heavy weights, allows that girl to eat carbohydrates, where most women are running away from it. And so she's a meat eater. She's in great shape. So we set her up for a year. Then the baby came. We kept her really well during the pregnancy. And then through the whole time, it was one of those things that we're learning about how babies eat and what they function. And the great thing about Mona too was, which is tough, and I know no woman's going to do this, you're an incubator. This is a tough one for women. You're an incubator. So there's portions of when she was having the baby and pregnant, I said, no more training. And most women will go, no, I'm getting too fat. She said, okay, whatever you say. So stress to the body is stress to the body, regardless. And I know most people say, well, working out is good. Moderately working out is good when you're having a baby. Stress is stress. Yeah. The baby can't tell the difference. And so we kept feeding her well, and then she backed off and allowed the body to do whatever it did to make sure the baby was fed correctly. And that's a tough argument for any guy to have with a woman. Hey, don't train for the 9 months, eat a lot, get fat, have the baby.
Well, I'll tell you, between the two of the genetics that you have and that she has, plus all the work that you guys have put into it, he's a specimen already. It's crazy.
That's what I said, man. When they don't like me, they're gonna hate you. And to be clear, on the internet today, everybody, I did not name my son Titan Maximus O'Hearn. She did. He said, boy, you're going to live up to this name.
Oh, that's good. But it's so fitting. It's perfect. I mean, when he turns out to be every bit of you and probably more, that name is going to be perfect for him. You know? It already is at 4 feet tall, and the house, he's only 2 years old. Holy smokes. I love it.
That's going to be an interesting refrigerator
Yeah.
So how many refrigerators do you have anyway?
4. 4 right now.
You have 4
That's it.
now. You're probably gonna have to get at least 2 more.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, but I also know that I'm going to learn so much. And I think for us, as we teach these kids how to do this, as long as we have, because man, we've been in this game for a long time, and like you guys have said, Johnny, you said there's a handful still.
Yeah.
And I'm early 80s on stage, and there's there's not a lot of 80 guys anymore, but
No.
I think they keep teaching these people this stuff and keep teaching them how we live.
Yeah, the club's getting smaller and smaller. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Love it.
Doesn't
Well,
need
brother,
to, but it is.
What is? I mean, you just been defying time and everything else. What's obviously you're raising a son now. What's next? Obviously, we know what you do. But you do so many amazing things, but we know there's got to be something else. So you're always doing something to go a little bit further. What's next?
Well, right now, if you want to watch a movie, the Manson brothers are out. I play Radiant Bobby. So you have to watch this. It's on Prime. It's a great movie, a very fun movie.
Nice.
I killed Boss Rutan and Randy Couture. It's a great movie. You guys are going to love it. We filmed
Very cool.
a lot last year. We filmed some projects. Escanor is great. That's anime. I did that. We did. What else did we do? Holy sheesh. One of the big ones we did is we did a movie called Star, and I play Stephen Dwarf's younger brother. And it's a great movie. And that will be out this year. So we're doing that. And then we're in pre-production, have been for a while. And it's one of those painful things to hurry up and wait for Hercules. So we've been working on that. So that's why the crazy ass hair. And yeah, so main thing for me is to look like Hercules over this next year and keep doing what I'm doing.
What have you not ever looked like Hercules?
Yeah.
But it's fun, man. It's fun. It's fun to be able to lift like this. It's fun to I don't know what happens when you get to my age to where you're just like you love the banter with those people that have been on the road with you. And I guess there's a different appreciation, like we get up every day going, this is our shot. Today's the day. Let's make the most of it. And so you appreciate life more.
You do.
Yeah. So you really, I mean, lately you've been doing a lot of movies and such. Is that kind of where you're going? Obviously the longer you've been in the game, the more opportunities are coming. Is that kind of where is that where your focus is going now?
Yeah, because the other stuff kind of runs itself. I've always been into commercial real estate when I was young, because that was the one thing I talked about earlier is like all these guys are buying a house to live in or these nice cars. And I'm like, I'm going to buy an apartment complex. And that way these people are paying me. And so we've done that most of our lives. And that kind of runs itself and keeps growing. And then my vitamin line, I can't believe this. There's a lot of companies that are in Walmart, but I'm the only individual human influence, I guess you could call it, that's in Walmart. So my vitamin, within a year from launching it, it's already there. And it's kind of cool because it was one of those things that Walmart believed who I am as a person and what I represent through health and fitness is something they wanted to be involved with. And I thought that was kind of a cool statement from them to go, I lived right for health and fitness. And so that's kind of a cool thing. So
yeah,
we're lucky
cool
right now. So we're enjoying it. I got to get out to Vegas.
Yeah. Come on out.
I may be moving. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I got to get out of LA.
No, are you really moving?
Yeah. The snowflakes are killing me out here. The way they're living. And you know why I'm moving is because I can't see raising my son in this school system out here.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing for me. I never thought I'd move because of my son.
Yeah.
But I need him to learn that humans are humans.
Yeah.
There's good people, there's bad people, but we're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day. For me, I grew up as an athlete, and I just grew up with that mentality of that we're all one. So there's too much hate out here. I don't like the hate out here.
Yeah.
It'll be great having you out here. It'll be a lot of fun for us.
Holy shit, man. Talking about me getting strong.
Yeah.
I
Just come
love
out to the garage.
I
We'll get in
love
there
it.
and get some iron done. We'll get some lifting.
So check this out, brother. We got a time machine, right? You can climb in this time machine. You could dial in whatever day and whatever time, and you can go back right now. You right now can go back and get out and talk to yourself at a certain point in your life. Where, what time, what's the date, and what piece of advice are you giving yourself?
Oh, jeez. This is kind of actually easy. I went through a loss of my father, like a lot of typical men. That's life. You know, your dad passes on, be a man, move on. I didn't live in the pain. I covered it up. Later on, I lost my mom and I dropped. I lived in the pain. The guy that came out of that, I love who that guy was. And I love that he stayed in the pain. I love that he got crushed. I go back to him and just say, you're doing it right.
That's inspiring, brother, because it takes takes a very strong individual, like you said, to live in the pain and actually, because you have to process that, and you have to come one with the new terms, and it's hard to sit in there and stomach that stuff. But to do it, it shows a lot of character, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
For anybody out there going through hard times, man, what I mean by living it is don't run away from the pain. Don't rush it. Don't cover it up. Don't bullshit it. Answer the questions that it tells you or asks you. And no matter how long it takes, it takes. But I think it was the greatest thing of being dropped down like that. Came out a different human. A much better human.
Yeah, so that's very, very touching, brother. And I'm obviously very helpful for listeners because, as we all know, we all go through lots of struggles and losing loved ones. And obviously, I'm going to be one of those. I'll be using your words when my mother passes because I'm the biggest mama's boy on the damn planet.
You come up here and hang with me when you need to cry. We'll talk. All right?
Right on, brother.
I got no problem with that, my man.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Well, as a human being, I mean, it's almost like we had 3 or 4 guests on here because you've done so much. You know, it's been amazing to talk to you and really hear about some of this really cool stuff. And you're going to be doing some really amazing stuff moving forward, no doubt. But when the physical part of you is gone, the legacy of Mike O Hearn, what is that going to be? What do you want to be remembered for?
Honestly, I just want, at the end of the day, just a good guy. Honestly, the legacy is just, man, there was no quitting that guy. Jay Cutler posted a comment on a picture I put up the other day and me lifting. He says, you are relentless. And I like that. And I like that I know that's me. I'll get up and keep going every day. I like that. And I hope that people go, what he had to say and teach is beneficial. And I know that's not everybody. Not everybody's going to get that. But there's little things that people said to me as a teenager that said, I still remember Joe Weider saying, don't change what you are. Who you are right now is who the world wants to see. Don't be like these guys. And he said that to me at a photo shoot. And we just got done. And it was like 6 of us guys. We just got over at the Olympia. And there was 5 Olympian guys there. And he just says, do you? And so it's like, I hope people pick up on the little things that enjoy this, but battle every day, man. We got this one thing, and don't take it for granted.
Wow.
Right on.
I'll tell you, brother, this has been an amazing experience talking to you. I mean, when it comes to, obviously the show's called Legends of Iron. When it comes to a legend, I mean, I don't know that, like I said, you've got the legend of 3 people sitting in one chair. So it's been an absolute honor to talk to you. And I got to tell you, me personally, I loved hearing you talk about those stories back when you were a kid. That was like totally fires me up because, you know, you hear a lot of stuff, but then to hear it from the actual horse's mouth, man, I love it, you know. So I got to tell you, brother, it's been really, really cool to talk to you, and I thank you for coming on. You know,
Well, I thank you guys. Before we do anything, because everybody can see right now how big Nick is right here. Nick is a
beast.
John's traps are like sticking up here, but I need to show a photo. I need to show one photo, if you don't mind. Jeffrey, will you put this up?
Yes, look at that. Yes.
Look at that.
I mean, is that unbelievable?
Come on.
Huge.
Yes.
Richards times 10.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That is
all covered up there like that, but wow.
Yeah.
You can't make I got an action figure here. You know what I mean? Not even close to what that looks like. You know, you can't even make something out of clay that looked that good.
I mean, you're so correct. That is Vic Richards, the modern day Vic Richards.
Yeah,
literally.
I've heard it a lot of times, and it means a lot coming from you, Mike. I appreciate
But
it.
even better.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Richard, but Vic is great and was beautiful and very kind human. But man, you are, whew, man. Keep going, man. I love that all three of you are successful in not just what you do, but in life and who you are. So, man, it was my honor today.
No, the honor's all ours, sir.
Yeah, brother.
Definitely.
It's always good to talk to you, bud.
Yeah.
Always. Well, I wasn't going to bring up the California. Unless I didn't know it was a sore subject or anything like that. So, okay.
Well, the beautiful thing about you brothers is that, you know, we talked about a lot of stuff, but there's so much more to talk about. So we'd love to have you back on at some point because we could do these conversations every week and never run out of stuff to talk about with you on the show. You know,
Not at all.
So.
We could do a lot of these.
I would love that. Man. I would love that. Probably what I'll do then is, Hakeem, where are you? Where are you located?
New Jersey.
Okay, you're in Jersey. Johnny, you're down below me. Nick's in Vegas.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think we try to get over to Vegas and have a nice round table, nights at the round table.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, later this year, obviously the Olympia is going to be late this year in Vegas, so that's a simple one there. You know, we could do that one without a problem. But yeah, that would be killer. Now, literally just have us.
That's too far away. Come on.
I like it. I like it. Well, we got to get Vic Richards to get on an airplane to get on our side of the country.
I don't know how you're booking a flight for him. That's only first class tickets. You know, it's like holy sheesh.
But that would be killer, bro. That to do a roundtable discussion would be totally next level, man. That would be totally awesome. So we should definitely look for an opportunity to do that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys are incredible, man. If anybody's watching this, please let us know. I know you guys are going to put up links to your pages and stuff, but go follow these guys, man. There's just too much wisdom here on why we do what we do that maybe you guys out there in the world could connect to and change your path and change it to a good thing. So,
yeah. And brother, the best thing is you're the guest that comes on the show, entertains the hell out of everybody, and has the capability to have our show go out live on top of us putting on all the streaming platforms. So thank you, my brother.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
I needed the world to see you guys. So
that's it. So on that level, you're gonna have to do the close. You're gonna have to tell everybody, thank you everybody for watching this another edition of Legends of Iron. I can't do it. So you got to do it, brother.
No, you guys. I'm gonna sit here and pose. Everybody's gonna start posing now. Johnny, close this out, please.
Well, I got to tell you, man, this is another edition of Legends of Iron, but this hands down, first, it's the only live one to go out. And next, we had a guest on here that's got it's decades upon decades of information, and we are so thankful for everybody tuning in. And we will have this guest again. Hopefully, we'll be doing it at a roundtable discussion. So, again, the show is all about helping everybody be the best version of themselves, and I'm sure Mike gave you plenty of inspiration to do so. So we thank you for tuning in, but most importantly, we're here to motivate you to be the best version of you. That's another show thank you for watching The Legend of Iron. See you next time.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, man.
Brother,
No,
that's
thank you. That was awesome.
next
doing
level,
this again.
brother.
We're definitely doing this again.
Definitely.
Okay.
Oh,
Take care.
next level, brother. That was so awesome. I got to tell you, hearing you talk about some of that stuff is so cool, you know?
Thanks, man. Thank you. It was a good one. I like the who would I talk to? Because I've never really thought about going back in time and talking to the kids, but I'm glad you brought that up because that was a powerful moment, I think.
I'm going to say that was really powerful, brother. And thank you for sharing that, because not everybody has the strength to, you know, talk about those moments on something like this, and you do. So thank you for that. That's really cool, you know?
Absolutely. All right, boys. Have a great day today, and we'll talk.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you,
all
brother.
right, Mike. I'll talk to you later, bud.
All right,
You
guys.
got it.
Okay.
Talk to you soon,
Bye-bye.
brother. Bye, everyone. Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein.